I wonder what was on background. What was so important that Robert Kraft feels like the record needs to be corrected, or, as you were alluding to, Mego, I need to start laying the foundation for something moving forward. Let's spin it forward to the offseason, the draft, free agency. What's so important that Robert Kraft wants to make sure the local beat guys know and they're informed on, but he can't say or is too afraid to say or is worried about starting World War III about Bill Belichick? Probably the right answer. Why won't he go on record with it? Like, what's he trying to accomplish here?
So, as we started, I'm sure there is some course correction. And even off the record, I wouldn't be surprised if it's highly polite, sandwiched between compliments. The meat is the here's where Bill effed up, or here's where this isn't the way that the Patriots do it, is the way that he's probably communicating that. But then the other side of it, I think the bigger part of this is laying out the foundation of the narratives that he wants out there this offseason.
Like what?
And preseason.
What do you think?
Like, who's the future of this franchise? And that's something that they really can't talk about publicly. I mean, just because of NFL rules. You're not supposed to sit there and lay out who a successor to a coach is. And I think you just read between the lines. You see the
So you think he's talking about the coaching mortality of Bill Belichick?
Yes. I mean, maybe not directly, but perhaps indicating that there's going to be it's not going to be as it was last year where everything goes back to Bill. Perhaps there is a little bit more division of, I wouldn't even say division of power, but delegation, which is how things worked when McDaniels was here. Mm-hmm. But saying, we have some really brilliant younger minds on staff. We put out that weird statement about Gerard Mayo and going and getting an offensive coordinator for a real reason, which is those are going to be really strong voices in the building. And we want you to know that those people are going to be decision makers this year and in the offseason. Very much the same way that they did that stupid video in the stupid campaign years ago about how they were approaching the draft.
It's more collaborative, that video?
More collaborative, everything,
yeah.
That's what I think these kind of narratives are, because if you remember when they went into that draft, they had such a poor drafting record for several off seasons leading up to it. So it's a course correction and kind of laying out the narrative of these people matter in the organization. They matter a lot. We want you to know that this season isn't going to be all about, hey, it runs back to Bill.
Yeah, I think that there's a lot of that in there. I also think, I was thinking about what Tommy Curran said yesterday about how there's been no buzz about the Patriots at all. And I wonder if Kraft's sort of picking up on that. I wonder if he's sort of sitting there thinking, I can't really talk about all the things that have really gone badly here. I can't be frank and honest about it and say what I want to say in public. So I'm just gonna sit here and rap with these guys and sort of tell them what I really think about a lot of different things, because there's nothing really happening. No one's talking about the Patriots. No one cares about them, and I'm aware of that. And I'm aware of that, and I'm going to say, what I have to say.
Now that I've already begged Tom Brady to sign a one-day contract on multiple cable stations, I got to find another way to keep the Patriots in the news here in the Super Bowl media cycle.
Kraft's been the only one keeping him in the news, really.
Well, and what did Tom say yesterday to us? I'm paraphrasing, but he said...
They're not really a minor story. They would be down in the 15th paragraph of a 30-paragraph story. They're
after the Bears, he said. They're after the Bears, is what he went on to say.
It's bad news for Robert Kraft.
I don't want to say the Chicago Bears level interest, but actually Chicago's got the number 1 overall pick, so I don't even know if the interest is that high.
Tough.
That is brutal for the Kraft family.
It is.
And we're not just talking about Robert. Jonathan, who's looking at his future, and them doubling down and saying, hey, we're not selling the team, but Jonathan looking at this going... what the hell is going on here? Like, we're not even in the conversation. Not only are we not in the postseason, but we're not even, nobody even cares what we're doing.
Flexed out of a primetime game for the Commanders and the Giants.
So, look, Curran wrote this. He wrote, sigh, this is his lead to his latest column. Sigh, another Patriots free Super Bowl.
I love when Curran starts with a sigh.
We're now up to 4 in a row, he says. And he's saying it tongue-in-cheek, I think, but it's all true. The planet hasn't seen 4 consecutive Super Bowls with the Patriots since 97 to 2000, which I thought about that for a minute. I'm like, wait a minute, what? It's been that long since they've been in 4 consecutive Super Bowls. And heaven forbid, if they don't do it next year, we're talking early 90s. We're talking, Hugh Millen Patriots, predating Robert Kraft's ownership, predating Bill Parcells, if they don't make the playoffs, or the Super Bowl next year. He says, will the drought ever end? And when? And I know he's saying it's somewhat tongue-in-cheek, but it's all true. They haven't been in a Super Bowl in 4 years.
don't know.
It's a drought. It's a drought, Tom. You do know. It's a drought, and Arcand's onto something. You know, it's starting to hurt them. The lack of buzz, maybe the lack of eyeballs on this team is starting to get them antsy or hurt them in the wallet or whatever. And maybe Robert is just lashing out about this, and I got to scratch this itch too. Can we get Bill on spending from his final press conference of the year? This is, I believe, from January 9th, a day or two after they were eliminated.
I'm surprised you can't quote it verbatim at this point.
I mean, I mostly can. But this is what Bill Belichick had to say, effectively unprompted. He was asked about their spending 2 years ago, but this is what Bill launched into, and I wonder if this is what Robert was correcting and firing back at Bill at off the record.
When you look at the National Football League and the salary cap situation, and it's the same for all teams, what we try to do is we look at it over a time frame. So 1 year is a Polaroid snapshot, but actually there are multiple years involved, and at some point the reconciliation has to come. Spending in 2020, our spending in 2021, and our spending in 2022, the aggregate of that was we were 27th in the league in cash spending. So a couple of years were low, 1 year was high, but over a 3-year period, we're one of the lowest spending teams in the league.
Okay, and were they low, were they high?
In those 3 years, you would have had the same numbers, low and one high, or
here we go. We don't need to get into all that, please.
2 medium or 3 medium.
No. It was basically 1 year you spent.
2 sort of high and 1 really low.
So that was a shot at Robert, and we all interpreted it that way.
Glasses off, hair up.
hair down, glasses off. So that was a shot at Robert. We all interpreted it that way at the time. It definitely was. Maybe Robert's taking his shot back. How do you think things are between Belichick and Kraft? 617-779-7937. Is Bill on the hot seat? Something we've discussed, something we played some audio from Mike Florio and Tom Curran earlier in the week. Again, where do you think things stand?
Not great.
Because I think that's where things were going today. It was a lot of Bill off the record. Robert talked on Fox Business about Mac, about Bill O'Brien, about selling the team, about all kinds of plans for the league, about Dan Snyder. He talked about a lot of things on the record. Bill Belichick, not so much. So again, 617-779-7937. Do you think he's firing back about the spending comment, or at least laying the foundation for, you know what? Last year we didn't do what we needed to in free agency. We're going to take care of it this year in free agency. Do you think that's some of what he's laying the groundwork for?
I feel, free agency is another interesting spin. I mean, we've just mainly been talking about coaching because coaching, in my opinion, was the major issue
more
of
than
last
talent.
season. But I don't know if he would go so far as I'm sure that he's imparting some kind of message of my wallet is open, so don't point it back at me if, we don't go out and get the free agents that are available that make sense for us.
I'm not picking the free agents.
I'm telling you guys the wallet's open.
I'm giving Bill the money. If he spends it on Jonnu Smith, that's not my fault.
Exactly.
I gave him the money.
I'm the bank, okay? I'm not the guy making the decisions, but I'm the bank, and the bank is open for business, and I'm telling you guys that so that when you hear otherwise, you'll remember that we had this nice breakfast in a hotel in Phoenix where I sat here and told you the bank is open. So keep that in mind with whatever happens in the next month and whatever you see when you're down at training camp every day listening to Bill. And whatever happens in the regular season, you can go on the radio later and say, well, there were indications that I can't really talk about in an off-the-record meeting, and na. This is how these narratives get built. Because the sources are saying, this is on background, this is so you know what my perspective is, so you're not just hearing the one guy.
Whatever it is, it's sneaky. Whatever's going on, it's sneaky by Robert Kraft. And I wonder how much he's trying to distance himself from last year when he should be right in the middle of it.
Oh my God, he should be running away from it.
He knew. We all knew. We all knew.
He should be running away from it.
Wait, look.
He's going to sit there and eat this S sandwich all through the winter?
Well, he knew then. We just heard in his voice. He knew that was a mistake to have Patricia and Judge on offense, like we all did. And I blame the players more than the coaches, but Robert should have stepped in on that. So I wouldn't let him skate. Whatever's going on, it's sneaky, and I want to know how much of it is about Bill.